go straight to Facebook?
Yeah, it's going straight to Facebook. Yep. I tried Facebook Live, but it wouldn't. I was having a hard time bringing people in. So, and then this makes it easy for me to download and so we can edit it and everything. Well, guys, we are on. We're not starting yet. You guys know how we do. We got about 4 minutes. So everybody just come on in and just share and just let us know you're here. If you hear a pitter patter of little feet in the background, it's because my little man is in here. And so you may hear him call daddy from time to time, but we are live.
Yeah, you might hear some stuff around my house because
So we are good. If we hear him, we hear him. That's part of life. Man, is that Jesse's hat?
Yeah, 990401. Yeah, that's the hat he made. He has shirts and all kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to grab it.
Yeah, man, gotta rock it. Gotta support the homies.
Yeah, definitely. Because I don't want to be showing all this gray every time.
That's the wisdom, man. That's the wisdom. I saw I posted a picture the other day. It looked like I remember the first time I had some gray in the top of my head. I don't have it in my beard, but I have it on the top of my head. I was like going like this because I thought it was lint. And I looked close to the mirror. I was like, "Oh, that's gray." I'm like, "Bro."
I think I've had mine since I was probably like, I started getting it probably like 38 or something like that.
Okay.
And then next you know, it's just I started dyeing it and all this just came on in great. Keisha likes it, so I said I'll go ahead and keep it. She liked it, so
to dye or not to dye, right?
Right. Show that wisdom. I think when I hit 50, I think that's when I'm gonna go the dyeing route. Dye. I have about.
It doesn't look bad though. Like if it's all gray.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's kind of dope, but
when it's uneven, you know, there's this big strip right here, and then
patches.
I had my high school band director on week before last, and he's talking about he's like in his 70s, talking about he dying this. He said, "Just for men, my brother, just for men."
Just for men, huh? Yeah. It's different, like when you get old, as you're getting older, like you realize all the things that your dad was saying, like, "Oh,
yeah,
man."
Yeah, buddy. Okay, that's good. All right, guys, we got about a minute before we get started.
It's thunder in here.
Huh?
It's thunder in here.
Oh, wow. Not here.
My daughter had all her friends over because they were going to do a movie night and do a projector screen in the backyard.
Oh. All right, guys, it's 8 o'clock. It's time for another Father's Authority. So what I want you guys to do, those of you that are on, go ahead and take a second and share this video to your page or to a friend's page, to a group. We want everybody to be a part of this. I'm doing it right now. I have shared it. Guys, well, once again, we are here live on a Monday night with the Father's Authority. I have my good friend and brother Joseph Stallings III on tonight. We're going to talk about all things fatherhood. For those of you who have never been on before or never watched, the Father's Authority is a part of our Kingdom Relationships, and it's a movement to impact fathers and change the conversation on fatherhood, change the narrative, and start a conversation about fatherlessness. And tonight, guys, it's me and Caleb. Mommy's out of town for work. So if you hear Rubbles on the double in the background, or you hear Paw Patrol or anything like that, that's Caleb with the babysitter. But nevertheless, that's life. So we're gonna keep going. Joseph, man, how you doing tonight, bro?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing really good.
That's good. Thank you for being on. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh man, I don't know how to talk about myself. I'm a pastor, a worshiper, a father, a husband, a brother. I think my biggest thing is I love to help people. I wanna help people get to their best thing. I also don't mince words. You know what I mean? I'm pretty much no filter. So how it goes.
That's good, man. So tell us your story about your life with your dad, growing up with your dad. Man, I know your dad. I don't know him personally, but we're friends on Facebook. Tell us about your life growing up with your dad.
I'm a PK, so I made his life very difficult. I was in the streets, into drugs, but my dad was a good dad, and I can remember when you're in school and they're like, "Who's your hero?" My dad was. That's who I wrote about when they asked us to do reports when we're like, in school, in elementary school. Who's your favorite person? It was always my dad. He had just a grace about him. He was a very honoring man and slow to speak. He was very slow to speak. He always took his time making decisions. It was never a fast decision, never emotional type of decisions. So I feel like I have that trait for him. I think it took me a long time to get there after, wilding out and being, a young man or a boy, really. And now I see, what he was talking about, those conversations that you had, when you're sneaking into the house and catch you, you know what I mean? Now I see those, what he meant in those conversations and those words, and just the grace that he had for a rebellious son.
Okay.
I think that was awesome, the grace that he had, because I was pretty bad. I was pretty bad.
Guys, so how did he? Now you said the grace he had for a rebellious son. How did he handle your rebellion?
There was two ways. I mean, I think that he always spoke to me. Anytime my dad would give any of the kids a punishment, right, whatever it was, he would talk to us first. And I used to hate that. I'm like, just give me the punishment. I don't want to talk to you. Just give me the punishment, right? But I think that was the grace, understanding, hey, it's not because I don't love you. Because if I didn't love you, I just wouldn't say anything. I just give you handout punishments over and over again without even explaining to you what you did wrong. Just you're punished. You know what I mean? So I think that it gave me just a place to be safe. I'm messed up, but you don't hate me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's good. That's good. And I tried to do it with Caleb. And I learned that from watching a friend of mine with his son as I was growing up. I try to explain to him why he's getting this. If sometimes he does get spanking. And I don't whip him, but I pop him, maybe a couple times. And I explain to him, this is what you did, son. This is why you're doing it. This is wrong. And this is why daddy has to spank. And I always tell him, I say, I spank you because I love you. I discipline you because I love you. And if I don't discipline you, that means daddy don't love you. And then you're going to grow up and not understanding consequences. And I think that's a lot of what's happening with kids today. Even growing up, I mean, we're really a lot. It's prevalent today that a lot of kids, they don't have a lot of discipline.
Yeah.
So, and the parents are just letting them run rampant and run wild, and then it's causing the kids not to respect adults and doing it. Like we had a situation today, and I was at a crossroads on how to handle it. I took Caleb to Chick-fil-A after I picked him up from school, and it was a little boy. Caleb was coming down the slide, and the little boy got in his way inside the slide and wouldn't let him out. And I just heard Caleb, Daddy, yeah. I'm like, where you at? Someone's wrong. He said, he won't let me out. He won't let me out. I'm looking, I said, wherever you are, let him out. So I go over there, little boy sitting down there in there like this. I said, can you let him out, please? He just crosses his hair. I said, please let him out. And then so he moved and let Caleb out. And I was at a crossroad at the hood side of me was about to say, Caleb, kick him in his back and move him out the way.
Get out. Yeah.
But, the kingdom side of me said, okay, go talk to his parents.
Yeah.
Tell his parents. But then I was at a crossroad. How do I tell Caleb to handle that? And next time, okay, if he doesn't move and you ask him 3 times, push him out the way. But try to talk about first and to have that conversation with him and to talk to him about being disciplined. And I say that because we're talking about just having a conversation with your child and how to. And I was saying that because of the kids without discipline. That little boy just was just mean and for no reason. Wanted to block him because parents not teaching. But his parents just came to him. They made him apologize. But you could tell that he does it all the time. And they don't. It's not really strict discipline in that area.
I mean, I think that most of the world is raising bullies in the first place. I mean, it's a normal thing. It is. It's sad, but it's normal. I try to teach my kids. I have the conversations with them. I had a conversation with my son today, my youngest son. He's doing this thing where if he gets in trouble, if somebody else looks at him, then he's berating them. Well, you did this, so you can't even say nothing. And I'm like, whoa, we're talking about what you just did between me and you. Why are you bringing somebody else in the conversation? You need to go upstairs and sit for a while. And then, I'll come up there and I'll talk to him well, do you know why?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm like, well, explain to me why. And if you can explain to me why, then I know that it was wrong. So then we can have that conversation. And it opens up conversation about life and things like that. I always try to draw lines between that things and the regular stuff that they get in trouble for and life.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
That's good.
Life and job. In a job, you can't do that.
Right.
You can't just because somebody else, just because you did something wrong and you did something wrong and your boss comes to you and tells you did something wrong, are you going to go point at the other person? Well, they did this. You know what I mean? We're not going to do that. That's not how we do it. We have to take ownership of the things. The only people that we can take ownership of is ourselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even if we have spouses, we don't own them.
Right.
The only person that we can take ownership in is ourselves.
That's good. That's good. And I like how you said to him that if he can explain to you what he did and why he did it was wrong, or what he did was wrong, that he know it was wrong. I like that. And I'm actually going to use that because that is true. If they can explain to you, tell you what they did and why it was wrong, then that they know better.
Yeah.
That's good. I like that.
I think it helps having I have 4 kids, one on the way, have one that is 17,
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm just glad that she's going to graduate and do all that stuff because I thought I broke her. You know what I mean? Because when I had her, I was young, really young. It was just me and her. I had full custody of her since she's been 2 years old.
Okay.
My wife has always been pretty much her mom. But she's not her biological mother. So we've always had this other side of it. And it's funny, man, DNA is something else. She doesn't even really see her biological mother much, but she has a lot of traits like her. Which is funny. Yeah. It's written into your DNA. Some things are just there.
Right.
I think it's interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. So what does fatherhood mean to you?
It means selflessness.
Okay.
Yeah, it's selflessness. It's an honor to be a father. I was sitting around. I went to a pool party. It was Saturday, and my kids were running around. And it was at one of my friend's house. I've been friends with him since I was in high school. It was his aunt's house actually, and we've been going to parties there for years. And we hadn't been in a while. We haven't thrown any parties over there. Just a pool party. Everybody comes over, hangs out, has fun. And I go and I get to see my kids grow up and make relationships with people that I've had relationships with for a long time. You know what I mean? And I had to sit back and feel honored that I get to do this. I get to raise these beautiful children in such a beautiful way. and understand that even if I make a mistake, and I do, because I'm a human being, like sometimes I'll be like, you should have did this, or you should have did that. And they're like, oh, I did. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Like, we all do it. We all, and them knowing that it's okay if you make a mistake, or it's okay if you say the wrong thing, as long as you take the ownership in it and we have that conversation. You can't run away from it. You know, I think that we all try to hide and run away from things. You can't run away from it. Just stand up to it. And that's what you have to do. It's not always going to be easy. You know, fatherhood isn't an easy time all the time, because you could be tired and your kid wants you and they don't understand that you're tired.
Yes.
Because they have little battery packs in their body that nobody told us was there, and they keep on charging them. I don't know what they're doing. We're tired and we just want to go to sleep, but they want to play, and you're like, I can't even get down on the ground like that anymore, son. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I want to race you, Dad. Like, no, you don't, because I have to trip you to win. I'm going to have to trip you, and you don't want to do that.
It's like, man, it's like they go out in the morning to go to school, and like they get the daylight charges their battery up, and as soon as they get home, it's like at a certain age, all naps go out the window.
Yeah.
No matter how many naps they get, they're supercharged, super full of energy, and want you to do everything. Day.
Trying to convince them that they want to do what you want to do just so you can sit down for a moment. They really don't, but you're trying to. Don't you want to watch this movie? Don't you want to turn on Paw Patrol so you can sit down? And they're like, oh, maybe. And then you feel bad because they don't even watch it anyway.
That's true, man. But it's like you said, it's a beautiful thing to be able to raise him, because I feel the same way, man. I love my son.
Yeah.
And no matter how tired I am and frustrated I get because he don't want to let me rest and he wants to play 24/7, it's like I feel bad when I don't do it. And sometimes Keisha has to make me, babe, it's okay. Go lay down. Caleb needs to know boundaries. He needs to know that he can't play all the time. And so now we're trying to. I just started something yesterday. What I want to try is to get him quiet time. You know, okay, sit down. When I was listening to Miles Monroe today, and he said, what do your kids know you for? He's talking about reading books. He said, you need to sit down with your kids and read books, because if they see you watching TV all the time, that's what they're going to do. They're going to, if you read a book, they're going to read books. So I want to start just reading books, cutting the TV off, cutting the YouTube off, Paw Patrol, whatever, and just reading books with him. That they spend that time with him, so he'll know that it's not all about playing. Maybe he'll want to read a book, and then I can sit down and chill.
Yeah, then you can take a nap. Like you can act like you're reading the book and just
go to sleep.
Just put your head down a little bit. See, that's why you need to start wearing hats. Where nobody knows. Nobody knows. I'm actually asleep while we're doing this interview, and nobody knows.
I will use that. I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna take that in consideration. So, what's the best part of being a father, man?
When your kid says you know what? Remember we had that conversation. And you were right. You were right. When they say, "Dad, thank you for telling me the truth," you know, and they say, "Dad, thank you for loving me," or "Thank you for taking us all out to get some food." I think that is one of the best parts for me, because I realize, like, I'm really big into having a servant's heart. Like, I don't care what it is, that whether it's cleaning the toilet or taking out the trash, or if you do it with a happy heart and understanding that it's helping somebody else, man, it really changes the reason of why you do it.
Mm-hmm.
And that thank you at the end is saying, like, okay, they are seeing it. They are seeing it. So I think that's one of the best parts, seeing them fulfilled, seeing them happy and smiling, and knowing that that they can talk to me. You know?
Oh, that's good.
My kids tell me, it's funny. I had an incident with my son Joshua. He got into I guess they were slap boxing outside or something like that. And somebody scratched his lip, or at least that's what he told me. Somebody and so I was like, man, somebody must have slapped the mess out of you. They slapped you pretty hard, just slapped the skin off your lips, bro. I'm like, you should have closed your fist and hit him. Like after that. So a couple days later, I didn't think that really happened anyways, so a couple days later, he tells me, he was like, I actually burnt my lip. I was playing with a lighter.
Oh.
And I was like, okay, but he was able to tell me the truth without me even asking him.
Mm-hmm.
He just came to me because he wanted to confess it, because he didn't want that to be the thing he said to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when you like, my kids know it's better not to lie. Like, it is just better not to lie to me. Just tell me, and we can work things out. But when you lie to me, that's the thing that really is the bad thing. Because not only did you do something wrong, but you also lied. And so that is also wrong, right? So now you're piling these things up. And that's what happens in life, right? Like, somebody does something, they try to hide it, so they tell a lie or cover it up. And then so now they have to stick with that lie. So now they're building something on building something on building something on building something. And one day that foundation is not strong enough to hold everything else, and it's going to fall down, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what them learning those lessons of, I have to tell the truth no matter what it costs me. That's a good thing.
So how did you teach that to your kids? How did you get that? How did you get that in them? No, maybe some
I'm still
father
teaching
out there, huh?
I'm still teaching them. I'm honest with them. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I'm honest with them. I made a mistake. Sorry, kids. Like, I found out that you didn't do that. I'm sorry that I yelled at you. Or they're running around and I'm frustrated because something that happened at work. And I come home and I take it out on them. And I realize it. And then my wife is so good to be like, I think you went a little bit too far on that one. And then I have to, you think I did? Yeah. Okay. I'm going to go to them. I'm going to sit there and I'm going to be like, I'm sorry. I made the mistake. You didn't deserve that. And there's no excuse for it, right? There's no, but you shouldn't have. It's like, you didn't deserve that.
That's good. So you're teaching by example.
Right. That's the only way, too. Just telling somebody something means absolutely nothing. You can hear it a lot, but actions speak louder than words, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And I think that's the one thing that we can learn, because I've always heard to say your kids, I heard them in church said that kids will tell you how you really are at home. So yeah, so if you
ever watch a kid playing with toys and mimic you?
Right.
Yeah.
So what you doing at home?
Talk about soul searching.
So if you slapping your wife at home, your kids on the table, G.I. Joe, yeah, sit down.
Old Barbie and Ken ain't getting along.
So that's why you have to lead by example. And I learned that we do that. We try our best, Keisha and I, when Caleb's, we don't have a lot of arguments anyway, but if we do have one, we try our best to keep it under control with Caleb. We talk about everything anyway. So we want to teach him. I have to show him, this is how you treat mommy. This is how you treat your wife when you get married. This is how you treat a woman. Because he's going to have a good example on how to treat a woman because of how I treat Keisha. I don't yell. I don't raise my voice. I don't talk to her in an abusive way. When he sees daddy, he sees daddy loving mommy. Even if daddy may get frustrated or something like that, he sees daddy controlling his tongue and doing it with mommy. So I've said that as an example. When I said example of him, when I'm wrong, I go and apologize. Like you do with your kids, I do with him. If I'm frustrated and I raise my voice and I say, buddy, daddy didn't mean to yell at you.
Yeah.
But this is why daddy was upset or frustrated. But daddy's sorry. It's no excuse. I didn't mean to yell at you. Dad won't do it again. You love me? He say, yes. I say, okay, give me a hug. And then we go on because I'm like you do. I try to, and that's what many parents have to do, especially fathers.
Yeah.
We have to live and raise our children by example, because what happens is they take on what they see in us. Last week, my friend, my guest, Dr. Brown, what he said was, because he has a daughter, if he's always, and it was a good point. It was so good. He said, if he's always yelling at his daughter and spanking his daughter, even though he's disciplining her, but if he's spanking her all the time, then when she meets a guy, she's going to equate that to love, because if daddy's spanking me all the time and saying that he loved me, then this is how I'm supposed to be loved.
Yeah. I don't like spanking. I'll do it. A couple things. If something's going to be very dangerous and it's going to hurt you, I'll probably spank you. Like if I see you playing with something you're not supposed to, right? And it's dangerous, you can get a spanking for that. And then lying, you could get a spanking for that.
Oh, hold on. Yeah, buddy.
Can you download this?
Yes. Okay. I'm sorry, guys. So he wants me to download the game, so I'm gonna download it real quick. But keep talking, Joseph.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. You don't need to apologize. This is what we're here for, right? What was I saying? Oh, yeah. So I don't know what I was saying.
We were talking about the example, guys. This is part of life, part of being a father.
Yeah.
Sometimes we get interrupted, but I'm good. I'm not apologizing for him being here. That's my son. That's my heart. So, but Joseph, what how important are a father's words to his child?
Oh, probably one of the most important. Right? Like any kind of it's important. Those are the things that will. My wife always calls it the tape recorder. We all have this internal tape recorder that we can remember the very things that were said to us. Right? And so, like, even if we pick our words carefully, our children will still remember some things that they thought or they felt were too harsh on them. I realized that because having a 17-year-old daughter, she's like, well, it seems like you're always correcting me. And I'm like, thinking about that. I was like, maybe I am. Because it's a time in her life where we're having these conversations about course correction. You know what I mean? But then I also let her know of how happy I am with her and how much I love her and how much authority that she has and how smart that she is and things like that. But even then, those times, she doesn't remember that in those moments because she feels like, well, I can't do anything right. And I'm like, you're 17. Sometimes it's gonna feel like that because now this is like course correction. Like maybe you shouldn't have made that decision. And I told her, your decisions are your decisions, right? But as a dad, I'm gonna definitely let you know. What's up, Caleb? How you doing, buddy?
Say hey, Mr. Joseph.
Hey, Mr. Joseph.
Good to see you, buddy.
Say hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
I go back to Miss Iris, okay? The game is downloading, all right? Love you. It's downloading right there. All right, that's life.
So being able to have those conversations with your kids, I think communication is such an important part, right? You got it. If they don't have any place to go and talk to, they're going to go talk to somebody else.
Right. That's good.
Right. And then their view on something might be skewed because they're going to go, who are they going to go to? They're going to go to their friends that haven't experienced that. When I was 17, I was an idiot. I was. I'm not saying everybody else was, but I know I was. Like I was just.
Me too.
You couldn't tell me nothing. I was in some of the best shape of my life. I was about to go into the military. You know what I mean? Like you couldn't tell me anything. Not one word. But that's because I didn't open up lines of communication. Like I shut off to everybody. I'm gonna do what I want.
Gotcha.
I didn't want my kids to do that. So I've had conversations with them since they were kids about things. And my wife is funny. She was like, well, the way that you came at them, and I was like, but I didn't yell. And she was like, you don't have to. You don't have to. Like it's the way that you say something.
Yeah, the words, especially words of a father, they are really deep. My godfather, who helped my mom raise me, the man I call dad, um, he never ever once gave me a whipping or any type of like physical punishment, anything like that. His words were like piercing to the soul, because he was a pastor,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just like the main thing was he made you really feel like you disappointed him
Yeah.
when you did something wrong, and it was like the worst. Like one night, I had the car, and I was working at this gas station back home, and I got off at midnight. So I had his car. It was a gray Buick. It was the Oldsmobile, and so I decided I wanted to go to the club with some friends, which was like a block from the job. And I figured he ain't coming out the house. It's 12 midnight. He be sleep. I just tell him I'm working late. I lied, say I had to work late and stuff like that. So I come back to the job to get the car, and the guy was like, "Man, your dad was here looking for you." I was like, "Huh?" He was like, "Your dad was here looking for you." I was like, "Oh shoot!" Now I
Oh,
gotta take the
yeah.
car home. I was staying with him for the summer, so I had to go home. And he didn't say nothing that night. Went to the next morning, and he was just like, "What you do after work?" And I was like, "Nothing." I was just, I was around. I just went down the street, and I kept lying. I kept lying. You said it was lies, Bill. It was lies, Bill. He was like, Holy Spirit's gonna show me anyway, so you might as well tell me. I was like, I ain't doing that. I ain't going nowhere. Then one of the other guys, my god brothers that was with me, was like, well, I went to the club,
Oh,
And so I
right.
was like, so I had to just come out, and he was just like, "Why didn't you tell me?" I just went through the conversation, but it made me feel bad because I disappointed him,
Right. Right.
and I think that a good father, will, like you do, when we instill that in our kids, where they don't want to disappoint us, that they'll start making good decisions. Now they're not gonna make the best decisions all the time,
No.
but it'll get to a point where they'll hear your words and
Yeah.
they'll start thinking about it before they make a decision. And then I don't want to disappoint my dad, so like we should be with God.
Yeah.
We don't want to disappoint God. Like I don't want to disappoint God of how I raised Caleb, how I raised my son, how I treat my wife, because I know how I'm supposed to treat them. And so I think when we instill those things into our kids, like you're doing, like I'm doing, like other dads have been up here, or other dads that are out there watching are doing, it helps us to raise great kids.
Yeah. I pray all the time, like, God, give me wisdom in how to be a good dad. Help me instill what you want in them. You know what I mean? I don't want them to be zombies. You know what I mean? I don't want them to be like everybody else. I don't want them to be. I want them to be who they're meant to be. And I want them to know who they want to be, and I want to push them into that. You know what I mean? I want to lift them up into it. I don't want them to be what I want them to be. You know what I mean? Because that won't satisfy me. Them being happy will satisfy me.
Right. You want them to be their own person. You want them to come into their own. You want them to make the right decisions on their own from what you've taught them, and not just having to be like just everything that you want them to be like. So like everybody, like even with Caleb, with music, I'm a drummer, a musician. I saw when he was first born, I said he's gonna play drums. I put a pair of drumsticks in his hand. He did like this. I'm like, yes, yes. But Caleb, right now, he don't love the drums.
Yeah.
He loves to sing. And everybody was like, is he gonna play drum? I'm not. What instrument is he gonna play? I don't know. I would love for him to play drums, but I'm not gonna push drums on him. I'm not gonna force him to play drums because he may want to play guitar. He may want to sing. He may want to do all of it. He may not want to do any of it. But whatever he wants to do, I'm going to support him in that.
And it's hard learning that. That right there is hard learning, especially as the kids get older. My son Joseph, he's about to be 13 now. All right. He was a little. I love football. I love football. I love the aggressiveness and the violence of it. Like that's just who I am. I'm sorry, that's just who I am. I love it. Joseph loved football. Joshua loves football. But growing up, as he's growing up, like he's 5 and he starts playing flag football. You know, that's the first age that he can start doing it. Everybody sees that this kid has this awesome arm. So from that age until about 2 years ago, we were going hard at football. He played flag football first, and then he went into tackle football. And every time he stepped on the field, everybody was like, oh, that's a quarterback. He went to the Junior Olympics for the javelin throw. And then one year, he was just like, I don't want to play football anymore. I was so hurt. I almost made him play. Oh, you're going to play. And my wife's like, how are you going to force him to play? So spring ball came up and I put him on spring ball and he had a good time in spring ball. And I was like, I'm going to make him play. We'll just do spring ball. And if you don't want to do football after spring ball, then you don't have to. So we do spring ball and he's having a good time, you know, with his friends. He's loving it. Talking about football, we're practicing, doing our things, still doing arm exercises to make sure his arm is strong. After spring ball, he goes, oh, well, I'm done with that. I don't want to play it anymore. And I realized it's like, I wanted him to play. He didn't want to. I have to be happy with if it's not hurting him, I have to be happy with what his decisions are. Yeah. It might not be my decisions that I wanted for him, but he has to understand. If I make him do this, then somebody will be able to make him do things for the rest of his life.
Yeah, that's good.
We don't want him to be enslaved by anybody.
Yeah.
So even me, and I tell my kids that, like, I know I might want you to do this, but if you really don't want to do it, you need to let me know. But there are other things where you might have to do that you don't want to do. I have a daughter that has a job, and I'm like, you got to go to work. I don't care if you don't feel like going to work. That's just there's different things, right? There's different categories in life. And if you don't have that person to talk to you, that mentor to help you do that, then you will keep on going down the path that you don't want to go down.
Yeah. And parents, we have to pay attention to that. So signs, like you said, your son at first, he said, I don't want to do this no more. And you said, no, I'm going to make him do it. And you put him in spring ball and he got back. He loved it. You probably was like, oh, yeah, he loved it.
Buddy, we're going to the big show, buddy. I can't wait to sit in the stadium and watch you play.
Then all of a sudden, I don't want to do this no more. And I know how you feel because when Caleb was younger, we used to go to the music. Every time it was off on a Saturday, we'd go to a music store. And he and I get on the drums and play drums at the music store when we were in Florida. All of a sudden, we go and he'll get on the drums. He hit a couple times. He'll say, Daddy, you play. I know I want you to play, buddy. No, Daddy, you play. Sit down. And he just going. I said, all right, buddy, your turn. I don't want to play. But he's walking around all day, every day singing.
Yeah.
Singing all day, every day. Yeah. So I'm like, you know, and I was like, I felt some kind of way at first. And I was like, well, maybe. You know, he don't want to play drums. Maybe he wants to because I imagine, you know, him on one drum set, me on the other, him on drums, you know, I'm on the keyboard, and it's like, oh, he playing and all. I'm like, then he's like, no, Dad, your turn, you play. So I'm like, okay, whatever, son. I get on there and I play. I get my 5 minutes in while he's standing right there. And but all day long he's singing in the car. He's singing. Come home, he making up songs, you know, word. I love Ducey, yes I do. Jesus love me, love you too. Do whatever. Yeah. You know, he just making up stuff. So I'm seeing, you know, so whatever his passion is, you know, I want him to fall into that. So let me ask you, what advice would you give your children about having a relationship with God?
It's such a special thing. They all have relationships with God. They all have gone up and said, hey, I'm giving my life to God. I tell them that relationship with God is so important. And I show them also, you know what I mean? Because you can't serve my God. It has to be your God. He can't just be my God. And that's what happens a lot of times. I know that's what happened to me. I went to church all my life. We went to church. I don't know a day that we didn't go to church.
I feel you.
Like, we were at church all week. My dad, before he was a pastor, he was an elder, and my mom was, running like the In Touch ministry. When people got saved, that's who they would talk to. She would help disciple them. My mom, when I was a little, she would set us on the bed and she would do devotionals and pray until the presence of God came in, and it made a difference. But I had to make that decision when I got old enough. And at first, I didn't make that decision. I didn't make it. I ran. I didn't want to be in church. I didn't want to be around church. But when it really came down to it, when I was lost and I was hurting, and I was depressed, and I was scared for different situations in my life, there was one person that I would always talk to, and that was God. So
no matter where you were,
I tell them the importance of that. When he says he won't leave you or forsake you, that's real. There's no sin that he won't say, I love
you. That's good.
And that's the way that I try to love them. I love you this way because God loved me. And they know how messed up I was because I tell them the truth about the gangs and the drugs and the alcohol and all. I tell them the truth about that. So I think knowing that and seeing where I'm at in life, they see that there's nothing that they can do that's going to make me stop loving them. But because they love me, they don't want to disappoint me. And so then that gives that, let me self-correct. Let me refocus. We're always growing. We go from glory to glory, right? But that glory to glory is actually maturity to maturity. So that relationship with God is the thing that's going to help you keep focus, right? If you are connected to the Creator, then you're never going to end up being what you're not supposed to be. One of my friends, Anthony, Pastor Anthony, he tells me all the time. He talks about an iPhone, and he was like, he said the creator of that phone made it as a phone. It does a whole lot of other things, but it is a phone. It is not a hammer. The creator made it a phone. You can't look at your iPhone and tell me that your iPhone is a hammer. When I have a connection to the creator, then the tool that I'm used for, the person that I need to partner with, God with, you can't tell me that's not what I'm doing.
That's good. That's good. That's good. And we could use that. And I like that example because if everyone would understand that, there's nothing you can do that God won't love you for and won't be there with open arms to take you back, then you'll be like you said, you'll self correct when you're doing things. We'll start. My pastor said Sunday was talking about the prodigal son.
Yeah.
And how he came back. He was there. His dad was there with open arms. And no matter, because the son left, he took all his hair and went out there and squandered it. And he just basically destroyed his life. But he could come back home. He came back home and dad wasn't there to say, see, I told you so. See, I told you if you went out there, this is going to happen. See, you should have listened to me. See. But his dad was like, son was like, Dad, you're not going to fuss? He's like, no, I love you.
Yeah.
I'm glad to have you back home.
Right.
It's a celebration. And I think once our kids understand that they can't do anything to make us stop loving them and that they can always come, they can always talk to us, they can always, like you said, talk to you about anything. Yes, buddy. I'll download it when I'm done, okay? Ask Miss Iris to download it, okay? Yeah. So he's downloading everything he see.
That's what they do. I have to get them their own stuff. They try to take over my stuff. I'm like, I don't got no more room on my phone for one more game.
And so, but that can help us, and that helps our kids understand and be comfortable to come into us with everything and with anything.
Yeah.
And and be able to. And that's how I want Caleb to be. I want him to be able to talk to me about anything. Dad, hey, this is what I did. I'm sorry or whatever. No matter what it is, I want to be able to come to me. And there are going to be consequences, and my conversation may not be what he wants to hear, but be what he needs to hear.
But I tell him I'm gonna tell you the truth no matter what. I'm like, listen, I love you enough to tell you the truth.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
You have your friends that's like, oh, you should do this, you should do that. We could do this, we could do that. I'm like, you can. I'm gonna tell you the truth about it. What happens afterwards?
Right.
Like, I don't think that we tell our kids the truth enough, especially in the church world, right? And we don't talk about this, don't talk about that, because if you talk about it, they'll want to do it. Like, if you don't talk about it, they'll want to do it.
Right, because they're curious.
Right? So let's have a conversation about it. Let's have a conversation about alcohol and drugs and relationship, right? Let's have that conversation. Like, I talk to my daughter all the time, and I'm like, you don't even know what your emotions are right now. Why should you be responsible for somebody else that doesn't even know what their emotions are? You're trying to figure out who you are.
Right.
Right. And it's not easy to figure out that yourself, right? Walking through life, especially as a teenager, you think that you're by yourself, right? Nobody loves me. I'm not good enough, type of things,
Mm-hmm.
But then now you are responsible for somebody else's erratic emotions.
That's good.
So we talk about stuff like that.
Yeah, and you said something key, man, about in church, we don't really prepare our kids about really for life. We do, but we don't. Because like you said, we don't talk about certain things. Like, you don't talk to your kids about sex because you're afraid they can go out there and do it. You don't talk to your kids about consequences of life. Like, there was a point one time where as an adult, when I went through a situation where my faith was like up there. And then what I was believing for not to happen happened. And it was devastating. And I thought about it, and I was like, I've been grown up to be taught, just have faith and it's going to work out. Just have faith and it's going to work out. Just believe. And, you receive what you believe. But for that type of situation, I felt that I was never prepared for the opposite.
Right.
Because right. It's like, because I know my relationship with God is strong and my faith is here. I believe I'm not accepting defeat. I got this. But then when it happened, I was like, I went back, I reverted to childhood and teenage years, because I'm like, nobody prepared me for what to do if it don't happen. Yeah, they say go ahead and still trust God, but how do you feel? How do you handle the emotions in that? And that's what we need to teach our kids. We need to be real with them about those situations.
I think that a lot of times the church world is very scared of emotions, whether to dealing with emotions, right? Now they'll deal with it in a song, and I can cry in a song, I can lift my hands with joy and stuff like that, but we don't talk about depression and anxiety. And those things are very real, right? We talk about the enemy coming to steal, kill, and destroy, and we talk about that all the time, but then we don't give generations the language to deal with it, right? Because we don't even talk about it. So they don't even have the language to explain it.
Right. And you can't just tell your child because they're depressed that just pray about it,
right,
and get over it, just pray about it. You ain't saved if you're depressed and you're not dealing with it in a certain way. But sometimes you may have to go take your child to see a therapist.
Yeah.
And you may have to praying and believing Holy Spirit.
I think you pray about everything. You got to pray about everything. You have to pray. The prayer life should be a thing that shouldn't even be that should be something that happens every day with every decision, everything you go through.
Right.
You should constantly have a conversation with God. But I also need to get in my word and say, like, what does the word say about me? I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. Oh, I'm a friend of God. Oh, and I'm going on. Now I have some weapons to go ahead and fire when those attack comes and said that I'm not worthy enough, that I don't have enough, that I'm not enough. Then I have these things that God is telling me that I am. And then I have my dad here sitting here telling me that I am, or a mentor or whatever, because not everybody has dads. But then we have to do something. Us in the church, us men in the church can't just be fathers to our own children. Like, we have to be accessible to other people. We can't say that we're a leader and that we're there and then we're not there for anybody.
Right. That's good.
They come over my house all the time. They're here all the time. I'm like, don't you guys have a house?
And that's good, because a lot
it's better that they're here because they're going to get something that maybe they're not getting somewhere else.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with being that person. My mom was that person. All of my friends came to the house. All of them talked to my mom. My mom would pray over them, talk to them. So it was constant. Oh, I got the charger. I just forgot the keyboard.
Yeah, buddy. Okay, Dad'll give you some in a minute, okay? Well, guys, he went to get his charger. But yeah, man, like what you were saying, because that's how my godfather was. I mean, almost every child in the church, he had a hand in raising. We would all be at his house during the summer. He'd have us all, and it was like I just saw him take part and be a father to many kids, man. And like you said, it's a good thing, because as men, we need to be accessible to be role models to other kids, because like you said, we may be role models to our children's friends. You know, we may be a father figure, the only father figure they see. They may have their father at home. He may be in the house, but may not be present. You know, we may, even though they may have a father, they may look for a second. You know, they may not be able to talk to him, but they may feel comfortable talking to you. So if we're that example as fathers, then we'll be able to set an example not only for our own kids, but for other kids and for other fathers as well, to show them how it should be. And
I get jealous over other people having relationships with my kids that are great mentors. You know what I mean? Because sometimes they're not going to tell you. They're just not. That's what it is. But to have other safe places, you know what I mean? I think that's important too. My daughter has other people that she talks to that are mentors in their lives, and I know them. You know what I mean? And we have conversations. They don't talk about what they did. You know what I mean? We just bounce ideas off each other. Like, we see her struggling with this or that, and so we have those conversations. I think that's important too. It really does take a village. It really does.
Yeah, it does, and especially for kids who didn't have that biological father, who didn't grow up with their biological father, it's good to have different mentors like me. I never knew my biological father, but God gave me a father figure for every season of my life, and it's amazing. I look back on it now. I was young, I had my grandfather. When I got hit 13, I had my godfather. When I got to middle school, high school, I had my high school band director, who was a father figure to me. And then I got to college, I had my spiritual father. And it's still going. But during those teenage years where I really needed a father, I had two. I had my godfather and my high school band director. And they were two men that I saw that took a lot of kids under their wing and mentored them and were father figures. And I'm glad you said that, because as fathers, we need to just look and be accessible and be willing to father other children while we're there, because that's what we're here for as fathers. Man, Joseph, I thank you for coming on tonight, man. So before we go, I want you to just take like 60 seconds and just impart something to the fathers out there. Give them a piece of advice. Give them whatever's on your heart. Just give something to the fathers that's watching. and fathers that will watch?
Man, it's really the prodigal son thing. Such a good thing. It's almost my story too. You know, I left. My parents were pastors, and I left home wanting to make my own life, and really got into some bad situations. And I came home, and my parents didn't berate me. They didn't beat me over the head. They just loved on me. I would say to anybody, let your love speak louder than any other emotion that you have. Any of your disappointment, any anger, sadness, frustration, let the love from your child be a whole lot louder, because they'll remember it. They will remember how much you love them. They will remember that. So that's what I would say. Man, just love. Just love. My sister always says, let love be your language.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you do that? Like if you made that mistake, how would you want to be told that somebody still loves you?
That's
I've
good.
always tried to give a different perspective, put myself in those shoes. You know what I mean? I have a testimony about me and my wife's relationship and how we separated for a year and a half and what went on in that. You know what I mean? And so my kids see that example of you loving in spite of.
Mm-hmm.
Let love be your language.
That's good. That's good. I appreciate that, man. Thanks, man. Thank you for coming on tonight. I appreciate it, bro. Love you.
Love you too,
we gotta do this again, man.
Yeah, anytime, just let me know.
Season 2 of Father's Authority. You know, we're gonna be talking about some good stuff. Yeah. So I ain't putting it out there yet. Caleb said Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day. Thank you.
All right, man. Thanks, bro. I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
All right. You go ahead and disconnect. All right, guys. That was my friend Joseph Stallings. Great conversation tonight. Let love be a language. You know, we had a special guest tonight. He wants to come back.
Daddy.
Yeah. But this is like I told you guys before.
Holloway.
His name's Holloway. When we first started, that he may be here, and because that's life of a father, real life and real life situations. That's what a father's story is about.
What?
Being real.
Why going this way? That go that way?
Because it's a mirror. It's almost like a mirror, buddy. Guys, thank you for coming on tonight. Love you. Next time, guys. I'm not gonna tell you. I'm gonna wait till next week. I'm gonna put it out probably the middle of this week. But got a special announcement coming soon. Got something for you guys. All right. Love you guys. Until next week. Remember, be victorious. Love you.